Alright guys, welcome to the Broken Sea. We are back with another Broken Champions. Today I hear Curtis Addison. That's how you pronounce your last name.
It is.
No, perfect. Excellent. Awesome. And he's here representing HIW. Or whoever, really.
Independent wrestling.
Independent wrestling
Yep.
in general. And now I talked to Mick Strongarm a while back and he's like, you should talk to Curtis. Talk to Curtis. Okay, what does he do? He's a ref. Come again? He's a ref! Isn't that awesome? Cool. All right. So I got our first ref, which is awesome. Because you know what? Out of anybody else, I have high respect for refs. I really do.
That's good.
Because, be perfectly honest, I find that a lot of matches, the ref can either make or break the match.
100%. And it's in the independent world, you know, there's a lot of bad refs. There's a lot of bad refs out there.
That's because they don't give a shit.
Well, and that's just it. And it's kind of the self-sacrifice for some of these guys who they want to be in the industry, but there's a disability or there's something that keeps them from actually becoming a wrestler. And a lot of these guys are wannabe wrestlers who are just reffing to get their time in,
right.
That kind of thing. But you're right. A bad ref can ruin a great match, and you know, and I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. And I've coached a lot of newer guys in it, and you know they'll get a lot of heat from some of the more veteran guys out there. But you're right, it's hit or miss sometimes. But that's where experience comes in though too.
Absolutely. So, like, how long have you been involved with the independent wrestling fed?
It's been about 3 years now.
3 years?
Actually, JS was the guy who gave me my start.
Oh, cool.
Started training with his gym, and they actually needed a ref. They were out. Actually got approached by one of the kind of the greats of the independent world, Principal Pound.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he actually.
I've seen him wrestle a great many times. I've heckled him a great many times.
Yeah, good.
Threatened with that belt.
The strap. Yeah. He actually approached me and said they were needing a referee for their company and asked me to go try out. And I kind of went in head first. You know, I wanted to do like anything else. I wanted to do it right. So I did a lot of film study. I went back and watched a lot of old wrestling. And instead of watching the wrestlers, I watched the refs. And I picked up, you know, each ref's got their own mannerisms. They're their own characters. And then again, that's the professional world, and independent wrestling is not the professional world. But you can still add that. It still adds something to the match. It still adds something to the characters that are there. And I thought it was important that I dove in head first, and it really worked out for me. I've had a lot of guys, you know, ask me to come on their shows and stuff, and I've done a lot of different promotions, and it's been really good.
Yeah, well, it's so hard to find, like, especially in the independent world, to find a guy whose focus is on reffing. So why the focus? Like, why refs?
It is something that appealed to me.
Okay.
I've always loved wrestling, but I've never gone and, you know, wanted to go be a wrestler.
Okay.
But I've loved the industry since I was little. You know, watching the Hogans and the Ultimate Warriors and things like that. They're great memories. I have wonderful conversations with all my buddies about, you know, remember this, remember that. But it was a way for me to kind of put my foot and put my mark in there, and I thought it was, you know, a great opportunity. So I jumped at it.
Cool. So, like, in your 3 years experience, like, doing reffing, like, have you had an opportunity to actually step into the ring as a wrestler? Or are you still kind of
and that's never been my goal. And you know, for a lot of guys, that's what they do. They start off as refs. Promoters will put them in as refs. They will train them because they need refs. Yeah. And a lot of guys aren't there to do anything, you know, but just ref. They're there to I'm putting in my hours. I'm putting in my time until I can become a wrestler. And for me, it's just no. I am a ref. I have no aspirations to go anywhere else. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do correctly and you know, as professionally as possible. So, and it's unfortunate because a lot of guys' headspaces aren't there to be a ref. Yeah. It's, well, I'm just here to count to 3, put in my hours, and then hopefully I'll be you know, the guy locking up at wrestling. Yeah. And for myself, you know, it's, you know, I want to add my edge to the show, make it real, make the crowd, you know, I've had times where I've thought, I'm not getting out of this arena alive because people are so mad at me because I did my job. You know, calling it down the line. Well, I can always, you know, don't have eyes in the back of my head, but you know, and there's a lot of times where I've honestly been a little afraid to leave.
And I'm assuming that's specifically the Regina crowd.
No, actually, no. I've been in Winnipeg. I've been,
really?
Jan.
I've seen I've been to a couple of different shows around, and like the crowd in Regina versus the crowd in Moose Jaw, completely different worlds.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
and independent wrestling brings out all kinds of characters.
Yeah.
Every facet of life seems to come out at independent wrestling shows. But and that's what you want, though. You want those characters. You want the characters in the crowd. You want people to love wrestling again. Yeah. And for me, that's why I want to go in there and do the best job that I can do. Make these guys look great, because then people walk away with that and they go, what, that was a cool match. That was good. I'm coming back, or I'm bringing so and so back. So that's the end goal, I guess.
Cool. Has there been a match in the back of your mind that you can really look back and say, yeah, that was a really, like, I did an amazing job, or that was a really fun match, or...
I actually had the opportunity, Jake the Snake came to Moose Jaw. Jake the Snake was one of my childhood favorites, and it was unworldly, not just to meet this guy, who's, he's been around. He's been around, and Jake's had a really tough life, and he's cleaned up, and he's got sober, and man, my life took a turn just meeting that guy, and he kind of kicked my butt. But doing that match, I was almost so starstruck because he was in there being a goofball, and the guy is faking, his fingers hurt, and he goes, check my finger. And right there is a WWE Hall of Fame ring in my face, and so
in the middle of a match.
In the middle of a match, he's just being a goofball, and I can't help but smile and laugh, and it was just like watching everything back in the '80s again. It was so amazing. It was so incredible. JS was actually working with him.
Yeah.
He came over to me and said, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I said, let's take the snake. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna have to take the snake. So I said, I'm a little starstruck here. So it was probably the most memorable match I will ever have. It wasn't my finest moment, that's for sure, because I was walking around like a little kid.
Yeah.
But like I said, that took a turning point in my life. Jake gave me a lot of good advice, that was probably the most memorable match I will ever have.
Awesome.
For sure.
Well, that's cool. What about on the other side of the spectrum? Like, what would you say? You look back and say, "Oh my God, I wish I could do that over again."
Oh, there's, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but I keep myself pretty professional. But there's been a few matches where I've got in the guys' faces because they've made me look bad. I've had to, and I've learned that if I talk to the guys ahead of time and go, I'm counting 1, 2, 3. You pin that guy. I'm gonna hit 3 no matter what. If I hit 3, that's done. Or if your arm goes up, 1, 2, 3, it's done. We worked with the promotion, kind of a little smaller promotion. Guy went to sleep, put his arm up. 1, 2, 3. His arm came down. I called the match.
And that wasn't planned.
That was not planned. The promoter kind of was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And so I just said, "Okay, yeah." Match continues. Of course, the audience, they all get it. They all know.
So you were just doing your job.
Exactly, and it does happen a lot. But I found that if you take the guys aside and go, you know what, like, guys, I'm serious. Don't be cute. Don't try to think this is the big show. Let's put on a good show for these people. But if we mess up, we've lost everything we've done. Everybody's wasted their time, and people walk away with a poor experience because they're gonna go, well, that's just as fake as I thought it was going to be coming in, right?
Yeah.
And it's not. Those guys put their bodies on the line. It is not a fun. It's not fun to get slammed. I've been slammed. I've been hit. And those guys take good hits, but they you gotta put in your time, and you gotta put in the energy, and you gotta make people want to come back. And if you're not working with me as the ref to put on a good show, people are just going to leave, and they're not going to come back.
Awesome. Well, I totally understand that, and I appreciate guys like you who put in that effort of professionalism and have that sense of you are putting on a show. Like, as a fan, I appreciate being able to go to these shows and understanding that it's a show. I know. But the thing is, as long as the performers do their jobs, they put on a good show, everybody leaves happy, and you don't leave with that sour note.
And that's always what we want. We want people coming back for more. We want to tell the stories, because that's all it is, it's storytelling. We want everybody to come back that next show. I need to see what happens next. I want to watch so-and-so because that was an amazing match. You know, and that's the end goal of it all. Every time.
Awesome. Well, you know what? That's all the time we got for today. But you know what? Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Talking to me about kind of the history and what you've done. And like I said, I appreciate the fact that you focus solely on the reffing, because that is an integral part, especially in the independent feds, that people seem to lose sight on, and the fans don't. So I really appreciate that fact. So
I appreciate you.
If you guys enjoyed that, check out some of the other videos on the channel, and we'll see you guys next time. Is Chris here? Okay, good. So listen, I understand you guys are starting like a new company.
My show, bitch! How you doing? I'm Chris.
Oh, hi, Chris Curtis.
Let's go set this up.
All right.